I think we're going to talk about this. I'm going to try and find something to say about this driver we're going to talk about. Oh, look, I'm well aware okay, I don't know who won, but I know who finished second, and of course, I was screaming up the rooftops about who finished third, but we're going to talk about who finished second, because who the hell cares about who won the race? God damn, no one cares about that. Oscar Piastri, or Oscar Piastri, as many would call him, and this incriminated young Oscar yesterday afternoon. Russell used 30 psi of braking force, stroke of 55 kilometers per hour of his net speed. Oscar, on the other hand, struck off almost 160k using almost 60 psi in the rain, no less. In the rain at Silverstone. And many drivers like Hulkenberg, Gasly, Stroll all came out and said that they all had to take avoiding action, and Verstappen himself almost came to a screeching halt. Because let's face it, every time I watch the replay of the Piastri braking incident, yeah, you can tell he scrubs off far too much speed, and it's not good enough. It's not good enough. And the way he sulked after the race, the way he came on the radio late on in the race after he served a penalty, begging, trying to be sneaky, trying to be cheeky, asking for team orders. Can we swap positions with Lando? No, mate, it doesn't work like that. Lando did nothing wrong. Thank you for the like here at Crystal Racing. I forgot to introduce myself. Okay, George was a bit clever there in Canada, but George knows the rule books very well. I know Oscar's first fault was, oh, well, George got away with it. Okay, Hello there, Samia. I hope you're doing well this evening. Getting some very fruity comments tonight out of nowhere. I don't know why, but everyone is welcome, unless you start spamming me with some horrible comments, in which case you're not welcome. But I'm sorry, Oscar. Like, I know, okay, there were also complaints that Russell might have fallen nearly 10 places behind the safety car, but I think ultimately Russell controlled the pace behind the safety car pretty well. Fernando Alonso obviously finished 9th. Okay, he was penalised by the team strategy, but once again, oh yeah, Lance Stroll, the only driver I've ever seen in my life who drives physically faster on water than he does on dry tarmac. He's in the wrong category of motorsport, folks. He should be a rally driver. It's as simple as that. I think obviously Oscar Piastri was also given super license points for his little stunt at Silverstone. And yeah, I don't read, and you know, funnily enough, and I know say Regara will enjoy me saying this, Lando Norris kept his nerve, actually did everything right. Okay, Piastri was much quicker this weekend. He was pulling away at a rate of knots in the wet conditions. Yeah, Nico Hulkenberg, superb job. Superb performance yesterday. Getting that podium. Obviously, Oscar made fun out of Nico, saying that how, you know, after 50 years of waiting to get a podium, he got a trophy made out of Lego. But of course, we all know that Lego everyone loves to play with Lego. I used to play with Lego all the time when I was a kid, so it's a win-win. It's a win-win for Nico Hulkenberg. Like, how many drivers out there can come out and say, my first podium in F1, I was given a Lego trophy? No one. Nico Hulkenberg gets that big claim. Leclerc, yeah, he struggled in the rain. I mean, I don't know what it was. He kept trying to gamble on dry tyres for some stupid reason. Like, I don't know. A lot of the young drivers on the grid, like Russell, Leclerc, and the rookies, Lawson, not Lawson, Hadjar, I beg your pardon, Hadjar, Bottas, Kimi Antonelli, all gambled on dry tyres. I know Stroll did gamble, but he was the only one to make the dry tyres actually work. Because Stroll's the only one who can actually find a grip in, like, on like a damp, drying track. He's the only one who has that like sixth sense with a grip in mixed conditions. Like, unless your name's Lance Stroll, who, by the way, I'm not a fan of, but for some reason in a wet condition, he turns into a different beast. He literally turns into this like world-class driving talent out of nowhere when the track starts raining. It makes no sense. But Nico Hulkenberg, I'm so glad. After 239 races, he has finally ended his record of having the most starts without a podium. I'm so glad it's finally come to the end. The biggest hoodoo in F1, modern F1, has finally been buried 6 feet under, meaning that Adrian Sutil, and I warn you right now, if you tell Adrian Suter about the fact he now has the most starts on a podium, he might throw a beer glass in your face because, of course, he once had an argument with a Renault CEO in Shanghai about nearly 15 years ago, and he was apparently angry that Lewis Hamilton did not support him in his court case when he was defending himself. So, yay, most races without a podium finish. And look at that, in 4th place. Thank you for 2 likes. Yuki Tsunoda is now in 4th place with 102 starts behind Pierluigi Martini and Filipalio. All the fans will know who they are, and he has now leapfrogged Pedro Diniz, Marcus Ericsson, countryman Yukio Katayama. The Yuki Tsunoda, mate. I mean, obviously, there's about another 12 races that I think Yuki will do. Obviously, with the way things are going, he's probably going to end up with 114 starts, 114 entries, I beg your pardon. Of course, he's failed to start 3 of his entries, so the next race he starts, he'll be making his century, a century of F1 career starts. And the way things are going, he's going to probably overtake Filipalio, who is on 109 starts, and because Yuki is going to end up on 111 starts without a podium, and if he gets a contract next season, I fancy he will almost certainly take away Adrian Sutil's record, because, oh my word, Yuki's stint at Red Bull it's been abysmal. I know a lot of us have forgotten about his name, but he's now back to holding one of the most unwanted F1 records ever. Oh. Look at that. Orange Spiker Ferrari he drove at Monaco back in 2007. 2007. I got 460 likes for that. 2026, well, Aston Martin are currently sitting 8th in the constructor standing, and I don't know, mate. Well, I'm not that sure whether I can take a team that's kept hold of Lance Stroll that seriously. Maybe. I don't know. But obviously, Adrian Newey will be joining. Well, he's already joined Aston Martin. But problem is he able to wave that magic wand and turn it around? I don't know. It's hard to say. Problem is though, and I be that guy, but at the end of this month, Alonso will turn 44 years old. I think Stroll, despite being the driver he is actually leading Alonso with 20 points to his name, whilst Alonso only has 16 points for the season. Will Oscar win this year's championship? Good question. I don't know, mate. Honestly, it feels like this season is going to be a battle of who will be the least worst McLaren driver this season. Did you guys fight at the front? No, I got a 10-second penalty for breaking behind the safety car. Nah, that is... Piastri saved the sport. Oh, man, oh, no. According to this Twitter guy person, it's more extreme than what Max did at Saudi Arabia 2021, which is a bit. I'm a Piastri fan, but he was stupid at race, and I believe he made that spot request out of rage. Oh yeah, I've got to agree with you, Will. Welcome to Crystal Racing. This is the very, very unfortunate incident that nearly led to Max clattering the back of him. Yeah, I mean, you can see Max's car jumping straight in front of him. Yeah, that's what happens when you scrub off well over 160 kilometers of your traveling speed in one braking maneuver. That was very, very, very dumb. Look how far back Max was before Max and Oscar broke. He just jumped out. He just made up so much ground because he literally slammed the brakes in the middle of a straight. It's just, I don't know what he was thinking. Honestly, I mean, look, honestly, I think, yeah, you're all correct, Will. I mean, this is a thing. I think Oscar Piastri deserves to be the championship leader, and he has actually been, in my eyes, with 5 race victories, the best driver on the grid. It could have been an accident had Lance Stroll been behind. Absolutely. That's the problem, though. Like, the only reason why Oscar got away with it is because Max was behind him. Thank goodness Max Verstappen, with his cat-like reactions, was the one to anticipate Oscar's move. Because if it was Stroll, oh no, we're getting a pile-up. We're getting a massive 4 or 5 car pile-up. But at times, this championship fight does feel like it's a case of who is the least worst McLaren driver. Not who's the best, but who's the least worst. Now, I know some are saying that George was trying to beat Max, but to be fair, it did look like the Oscar did make up enough time for it with the penalty, but sadly it was not enough. I mean, it's a 10-second penalty, I'm afraid. I mean, and you have to realise he did scrub off an insane amount of speed in the middle of a straight. It's really strange, and I'm sorry, Oscar. You really need to learn from this. Oscar was very keen to not express his real feelings. He got well. I know Oscar meant he got a podium, but still, I'll get myself banned for the year. Oh yeah, the FIA swearing ban. I think he's talking about because of Mohammed bin Salman. Why am I seeing Mark Webber in him? Well, yeah, Mark Webber is his driver manager, which is probably why Oscar is being a bit or is behaving the way he does. Yeah, but I think the problem is though, Oscar's clearly like hinting at George Russell's incident with Max in Canada, where George, okay, he hit the brakes, but he only hit it with like 30 psi of pressure and only scrubbed off about 80 kilometers per hour worth of speed, which is 50 miles an hour for those who are British. So was Oscar, well, he was going at 218 kilometers per hour and slowed down to just only about 56 kph, which I'm sorry, that is far too much speed to be scrubbing off. And like I said, he was lucky he was maxing behind him, because any other drivers like Stroll or Colapinto, it probably would have been a pile-up of cars in the middle of the straight. It was something that, it's the sort of thing that you often see in Formula 2 or Formula 3 when, like, a driver slams the brakes in the middle of a straight for no reason, and then you see a massive multi-car pile-up because their racing IQ is not highly developed enough yet. The only reason why he got away, I think 10 seconds was spot on. I think it was spot on. That was, sorry, you can't drive like that ever, especially in the wet, especially with the decreased grip levels that you get in the wet, where obviously car tyres are more likely to lock up over puddles, aquaplaning. You like I said, very lucky that it was more or less the best pound for pound driver on the grid in second place. And I'm sorry, Norris, despite being quite slow throughout most of this weekend, and the fact that, yeah, Oscar did have a great opening stint where he opened like what was it, a 13-second gap before the safety car appeared over Max in the intensifying rain. I'm sorry, he made a massive fundamental error out of nowhere. And I have to say, like, yeah, I know. I mean, I think when Oscar comes to his senses, he will finally realise he was actually wrong. But I will say, though, Lando Norris has actually. Lando Norris was actually has kept his nerve for the past 2 weekends. Lucky not to get a drive-through penalty. Is that worse than a 10-second penalty? I'm not sure anymore, because I haven't seen any drivers do drive-through penalties anymore. I don't know. Do you lose more time? Is that like basically a 15-second penalty, do you think? Because obviously, when you do a drive-through penalty, you just drive through the pit lane without being allowed to stop. I know it can take, like, was it approximately almost 25 seconds to drive through the pit lane at the speed of something like only 80 kilometers per hour. So in some ways, yeah, I think it would be. George almost did in Monaco. I can't remember. Was there a safety car in Monaco? I don't know. I mean, who the hell won Monaco? I keep forgetting. Oh yeah, Lando won in Monaco. I swear to goodness, I actually have problems remembering who wins the Monaco Grand Prix these days, because it's honestly the most boring race on the calendar by a mile. It really is. I know, yes, there's a lot of history behind it. It's part of the Triple Crown, but with the mayhem we had at Silverstone today, I honestly think the British Grand Prix should be the de facto member of the Triple Crown of Motorsport, but that does mean that Graham Hill would lose his place as the only guy to have won the Triple Crown of Motorsport, and we would actually have no one holding this Triple Crown of Motorsport. Oh yeah, George overtook Alex Albon at the chicane, caught the chicane, then was given a drive-through penalty. Oh yeah, he did lose a lot of time serving the penalty. Oh, look at that trophy. That trophy made out of wood, the same shape as the Coupe de Catalonia. Oh. What in the world does that mean? Honestly, that is hilarious. And look at that, the driver standings, all important driver standings. Piastri now sitting on 234 points, only 8 ahead of Lando Norris, who has cut the deficit still, despite the calamity of what he did at Canada with that misjudged attempt of an overtaking maneuver, which was frankly abysmal. But Norris, instead of dwelling on it and sulking about it, has mentally recovered quite well, I've got to say. Okay, he's not been super quick, but he's gone on with the job. He's blanked out all the noise. He's just gone on with what he's had to do, and he's ended up with 50 points from the past 2 weekends. And even though, yes, I'm not super impressed by the way these two McLaren drivers have performed throughout the past 18 months, one of the top two will eventually get a DNF. Yeah, I've got to say it. With the way Piastri and Norris drive at times, it feels like they're going to have an unforced error that's going to lead to a DNF. And one way or another, Max Verstappen, despite being 69 points behind and technically looking like he's basically out of the running for the championship, it feels like Max Verstappen, for all we know, if we get a double DNF for McLaren at Hungary or Belgium, Max could actually be straight back in the fight. I mean, if McLaren screw up, we could well see Max Verstappen cut the gap back down to 40 points, because honestly, McLaren are like a box of chocolates. You never know what's going to come next. And Max Verstappen, like we saw at Silverstone, got pole position when we least expected it. One of the most extraordinary pole positions on a weekend where Red Bull were nowhere to be seen in all 3 practice sessions, just basically looking like the 4th fastest car on the grid. And then in qualifying, Max just finds lap time out of nowhere. It's almost like Rosberg and Hamilton again. I don't know. It almost, I mean, yeah, but it also feels like Alonso and Hamilton when they were teammates at McLaren back in 2007, and kind of feels like Max Verstappen could well be able to take on the Kimi Raikkonen role of being the predator chasing the prey, which is of course the 2 McLaren drivers, because, you know, after 7 races of 2007, it's 2 little dogs chasing for a bone. Oh my lord, you've just insulted your own driver, Lando. Oh my goodness sake, I think I'm going to have a heart attack. But yeah, Max has got nothing to lose, to be honest. Obviously, he does still have the opportunity of becoming the youngest 5-time world champion this season, as well as, of course, being the youngest 5-time consecutive champion, which I have to say would be the ultimate unbreakable F1 record, because who the hell is going to actually overtake that? Okay, fair enough, dashing. It's literally Hill and Villeneuve all over again. Russell, I don't know. I mean, Russell's doing an okay job, but it does seem like Toto Wolff is quite keen on replacing him with Max, because Max has got that Midas torch. And Kimi Antonelli, yeah, he's had a few decent drives, but I mean, the thing is, Kimi Antonelli is probably going to blow up in like 2 or 3 years' time, and unfortunately, Russell's going to be caught up very soon. Albon getting 8th place in the race, 4 points again for Williams, consolidating 5th place in the constructors for the Williams team on a weekend where Carlos Sainz's strategy went wrong. Oh, what's going on with the messages? Hulkenberg, look at that! Hulkenberg up to 9th place with 37 points, and he single-handedly has taken Sauber into 6th place in the Constructors. There are rumours. There's always rumours that Max is going to retire from F1, though. I always hear it, but it would be a shame to see Max Verstappen retire right in the middle of his peak, though. I think I would like to see Max try and carry on until at least 2030, by which time I think he will be coming towards the end of his peak. And he started early at the age of 17, so if he decides to retire in 5 years' time when he's 33, fair enough, because I don't think he could do. I think once he gets past 15 years of F1, yeah, I mean, I've heard he's going to Mercedes. I think that's probably the most likely outcome. I mean, Verstappen spun after the Piastri, well, not a brake test, but Piastri slamming the brakes out of nowhere, and then Verstappen did pretty well to go from 10th to 5th, but I wonder what Piastri's peak will be like, when his peak will be. I don't know, maybe next year or 2027, but I think Oscar's already, improved quite a lot, but I don't think he can go much higher because he is already now 24 years old. Norris has already reached his peak, Lando Norris has already reached his peak. But I think Lando needs to just learn to keep his calm under pressure. That's it. Because there will be weekends Lando Norris, like we've seen, will just outpace Oscar for raw pace. But obviously, like I said, these two drivers make a lot of mistakes for no good reason. It's just really strange to watch. How can I spend one night with Alonso? I don't know. I don't know if Alonso's that type of bloke. Of course, I know some have been complaining that, was it when Russell slowed down, was the safety car lights were still on and it was still safety car conditions. Go watch Real Madrid, maybe. Well, I don't know. I don't think Fernando Alonso has much time to attend Real Madrid races. Oh yeah, there was this incident at the 2020 Tuscan Grand Prix, where of course, yeah, there was this pile up because Bottas slowed down too much, and a lot of cars collided together, including Giovinazzi and a few other drivers. Kimi Raikkonen obviously avoided it because he's Kimi Raikkonen. But amazingly, Romain Grosjean and Sebastian Vettel actually kept out of trouble for once and did not collide with the cars in front of them because they actually saw it coming. And of course, Magnussen got taken out, which is pretty par for the course day. Everyone in the bar clapped at Piastri getting a 10-second penalty. Oh, wait. Oh, is Bosca a Arsenal fan? There's a break for now and another break at the start of the football season. Yeah, well, I just saw the second half of the Women's European Championship game between Portugal and Italy, which ended 1-1 with Portugal having a goal ruled out for offside, and then Portugal having a player sent off for a shoulder barge. It's yeah. Yeah, Portugal still can't get any luck despite what happened last week with Diogo Jota's tragic passing. Oh, my reading. Logan Sargent won the feature race here at Silverstone 3 years ago. I think that's proof that Formula 2 and Formula 3 are not worth the piece of paper they're written on anymore. They really are not like particularly great junior series. Okay, I think it depends on what sort of OBS you're using, Dasher. Hala Madrid, by the way. Well, okay, fair enough. You support Madrid. I support Derby County, so you know it is what it is. Yeah, we survived relegation, but I'm going to say thanks to John Eustace saving our necks at the last moment with like I don't know 2 months to go of the season. I think this tweet by Verstappen FM is spot on by neither Piastri. Well, neither is Lando really championship material at this point. And let's face it, with F1 is kind of right. Yeah, the McLaren MCL 38 is carrying the pair of them at this point in time. Oh yeah, Oscar did have floor damage in qualifying, but yeah. Oh mate. Oh, apparently Lando was looking at some very attractive supermodel who was dressed up as a marshal, apparently. Oh dear, Lando. Gotta do better. Got to do better. What's this all about? Oh, right, when collided with Tsunoda last weekend with some very fruity comments from Argentina coming poor Yuki's way, where Yuki Tsunoda was forced to switch off his Instagram comment page. Yeah, I don't blame Yuki at all. Don't saw stuff on his timeline. Although, as to be said, Yuki Tsunoda has really struggled this season. He's really struggled as in the second Red Bull, which, I mean, let's face it, Al Gaspari, John Eric Verne, Danny Kvyat, Pierre Gasly, Alex Albon, and Sergio Perez were sacked for far less. No, mate. I did see a comment from Alpine that we've got all of them. We've got our we are fully supporting Mr. Colapinto. Oh yeah, did I just tell you Oscar's mum Nicole's has a Twitter account. I think she went quiet. She's gone very quiet recently. Probably knowing that she's going to get absolutely battered if she actually says anything. Well, you're basically based in near Silverstone anyway, so of course you're going to be back to work very soon. With you every step of the way, Franco Colapinto. What does this tweet look like, eh? This gives me the sense when, you know, a football manager like, let's say, Jose Mourinho is under fire because his team hasn't won the last 5 games, and Tottenham Hotspur and Daniel Levy come out with a comment saying, yes, Jose Mourinho is our future. And then the day before the cup final, he is sacked, his coaching staff is gone with him, and they replace him with what's his name? Ronald McDonald and his assistant, Valtteri Bottas. Where the hell's my own comment? Oh my god, did he delete my quote tweet? Oh no. Oh no. Of course, I'm going to give you exclusive VIP access to my notifications page. Oh yeah, there's me talking about my own driver again, despite the fact he's not raced for 3.5 years. Oscar scored a massive own goal last weekend. Massively disappointed in Oscar when he begged the team orders to swap positions. Thank you for 4 likes. Oh yeah, what did I say? What was it? Yeah, there we go. Kimi Räikkönen trailed Lewis Hamilton 26 points, with back then it was only 10 points for a race victory back in 2007, if you remember, which I think today's equivalent would be 63 points, which is more or less similar to what Max Verstappen is trailing to Piastri in the championship. So those two McLaren boys have got to be careful of Max Verstappen, because, you know, if he can smell an opportunity of clawing his way back in the championship fight, oh, he will get back in it, okay? Don't you worry about that. And look at this. This championship between Max and Lewis Hamilton was very good sportsmanship. 100% correct. Mike Crawford won the championship by 1 point. He was disqualified from Portugal for reversing into traffic, but had it not been for Sterling Moss insisting that Mike Hawthorne was not intending to cause any danger to his opponents, had Moss decided that Hawthorne deserved to be disqualified at Portugal, Sterling Moss could have actually become a world champion. But because he protested in favour of Hawthorne's innocence in a very sporting gesture, that meant Sterling Moss ended his career with 16 race wins, 4 championship runners-up, and no world title. And of course, his career ended in 1962 when he had an accident at Goodwood. And of course, his head injuries at the age of 33 meant that he never felt like he was the same driver again, and he decided to retire and do something else in life. Emerson Fittipaldi won his second title in 1974 by just 3 points ahead of Clay Regazzoni. The Swiss driver would never win the World Championship. And sadly, 6 years later, he had an accident at Long Beach for the backmarket Ensign team, which left him stuck in a wheelchair due to the injuries to his back. Both won. No, mate. No, Hawthorne won the championship by just 1 point. There's never been a joint world champion in F1 history, by the way. Never. I've not finished this thread yet, but I am almost finished my other thread, which is some of my favourite heavy metal and hard rock albums born in the years that the current F1 grid is born in. Do you want to see it? Here we go. Fernando Alonso, 1981. Killers by Iron Maiden. Bathory, the return for Lewis Hamilton in 85. Okay, fair enough, say. If that's your opinion, that's your opinion. Celtic Frost with Into the Pandemonium for Nico Hulkenberg in 1987. 1989, I know he's a reserve driver, but it's Evil Dead for Annihilation of Civilization for him. Could be back for Alpine if the rumours are true. That's why I put that there. Bolt Thrower with, I forgot what that was called, the 99-1 with Jodian Palmer as a pundit and Will Stevens as a test and simulator driver for McLaren. Human by Chuck Schuldiner. I'm not going to read the band's name out, but rest in peace, Chuck. Metallica's Black Album, which is, okay, you got to see that. And Morbid Angels, Blessed Are the Sick. Another legendary death metal album back in the day. Now, this was technically released in 1993, but it was released at the start of 1994 with Carcass's hard work album for Carlos Sainz. I cheated a little bit. Sorry, I just had to squeeze it in because I've heard the album so many times, it's not even funny. 1996 for Alex Albert, Deep Purple's Perpendicular, Cradle of Filth's Inner Dusk in Her Embrace, Apocalyptica's covers of Metallica's album with 4 cellos, and Acid Bath's Pagan Terrorist Tactics. Interesting title and album art. Then it's Pierre Gasly with Behemoth's Grom, Polish for, I don't know, I can't remember what the Polish, what the translation that is in Polish. Edge Sanity's Crimson, Dimmer Boogie's Stormblast, and of course Dio's Angry Machines. And then of course 1996 just has so many good albums. It's not, that's why In Flames, The Jester Race, Esteban Ocon, Godflesh, Songs of Love and Hate, Convergers, Beneath the Empty Sky, if that's right, and then of course Amorphosis. I can't remember what it was called now. I can't even read the title. And then I forgot to add Megadeth's Euthanasia, spelled with a youth, Y-O-U-T-H at the start. Okay, you can read the rest of that. I'm sorry, I'm getting carried away. Yeah. Cadillac. Oh, sorry. Oh, my word. Oh, my goodness. I apologize. Cadillac are in talks with the one and only Mick Schumacher. Okay, according to Boss, they are pursuing him as a reserve driver. Looks like no one really rates Mick that much, if I'm going to be honest. That's a no from me. 50. Oh, very close there from North Pole F1. How well? I don't know. Is Mick Schumacher doing well in WEC, by the way, folks? Lots of Mick Schumacher fans here, but of course we've got the likes of Zhou, Perez, Bottas, and Drugovic in the shout. First race saying, oh, the first race you saw, Kimi Räikkönen won the 2009 the Belgium Grand Prix, I beg your pardon. His 4th ever win at Spa-Francorchamps. And of course he won't, oh right, Graham told Sky Germany the list is a long one. Of course he won't badmouth Mick to the German media. Yeah, mate, I mean, with all those names being mentioned, Zhou, Perez, Bottas and Drugovic, yeah, I doubt Mick will be back in Formula 1, I'm afraid. No chance. It's just, dude, he wasn't that great when he was a horse. He got beat by Magnussen, who got beat by Hulkenberg, so for himself was 50-50 with Sergio Perez, so I think we all know what level Mick is. I'm not reading that meme. Oh, someone's already calling Cadillac bombs on this timeline feed. Explains why Bottas could be going to Alpine because of what Mick is going to Cadillac. That's yeah. Don't know what to say, mate. Yeah, I don't want this main YouTube channel of mine to suffer the same fate as my Crystal Encore channel, which is still in purgatory. And frankly, I don't think I'll ever get it back. Seems like YouTube are just did not accept my appeal. They did not accept my appeal. What on earth is this? What the hell is this? Someone bleach my eyes, please. Someone bleach my eyes, please. The candidate is the list is quite long. Of course, it is quite long, mate. I don't think. My God, 52,000 people are following this page about Cadillac team news. Fly me. Yeah, I know. Obviously, I'm well aware of that. Yeah, I know, mate. Yeah. I mean, what was it? I don't know, mate. It's like, what did I put there? I put a YouTube short of Emmy Martinez celebrating with the trophy. A short about San Marino winning a Nations League match. Steven Gerrard failing to communicate with his Saudi Arabian players at Al Ettifaq. I don't know. This is weird because I never got a single direct copyright strike for a single video I made on that channel. Whilst on this Crystal Racing channel, I've actually fallen foul copyright on like 5 or 6 occasions now. But yeah, they've never ever actually brought the channel down, despite the fact I did once have like 2 strikes and I had to walk a very fine rope on occasions. But yeah, I still have this channel running 8 years later, so I don't know how you explain that one to me. Let's look at the names on faster than Mick, Yi Fei, Philip Hansen, Michael Christensen, Angela, Perguidi, Calado, Marina, Nielsen, Van Lorenzo, Matt Campbell. I've never heard of most of those names except for, what was it, Yi Fei and Philip Hansen, and of course James Calado. The rest of them are just career sports car drivers. Yes, congratulations to Mexico for winning the CONCACAF Gold Cup. It's really just a regional tournament. I don't know why they've been running it at the same time as the FIFA Club Harambe tournament. It's a mystery, but you know, I suppose. But the problem is, of course, it doesn't really tell us that much about how well Mexico USA will do at next year's World Cup. But Canada got eliminated by Guatemala. I think it was in the quarterfinals. That's pretty poor, to be honest, to be losing to Guatemala in the quarterfinals. I mean, Canada have been rated as one of the best international football teams. Yeah, obviously, if they didn't get money for running the tournament, well, why would they do it? Because, you know, I've always had ideas in my head, like, they should do, like, an East European Cup for the Balkan and the other nations, like Serbia, Croatia, and, of course, places like Poland and Czech Republic, but I don't think they'd make that much money whatsoever. I don't know, Mick Schumacher actually attended this week's British Grand Prix, funnily enough. I mean, it's pretty safe to say Mick would get destroyed by Max Verstappen with teammates, which is very much roles reversal of what it was like between Jos Verstappen and Michael Schumacher at Benetton back in 1994, where Michael Schumacher scored 92 points and Jos scored 10 points. How is Mick Schumacher underrated? Like, has this massive fan base who just wishes he would be able to up to his father's name, but yeah, keep fighting, Michael, as always. I know I was talking about Oscar Piastri at the start of this stream, but oh, mate, that was brutal. Live inside a Mercedes simulator, return to F1 with Alpine. Yeah, but if he returned to F1 with Alpine, he'd be getting absolutely pummeled by Pierre Gasly. And this was dated back in 20th of May 2024. Yeah, alright, that's enough. That's enough Twitter for you, Addison, for tonight. Bottas fans are not happy. They're not happy. They're not happy. They want Valtteri Bottas back in the sport, but like Mercedes are kind of struggling right now, and they need like an experienced test driver with them, which is what Bottas is. Bottas is not quick. He's not the best driver, obviously, but he does have a lot of technical feedback and experience to fall back on. Look at that. Alpine interest in Bottas intensifying. I doubt Valtteri wants anything to do with them. Oh no. Oh my word. Can you imagine Mazepin on a TV coming back to F1? Alpine. Oh my goodness. I know why Alpine rehired Flavio Briatore, because he's the sort of guy who could do something ridiculously bizarre and people could criticize him all day long, but he will not give a toss. He's Flavio Briatore, but yeah, I think his decision to replace Doohan with Colapinto has worked out poorly, but Flavio's the type of person who will throw the dice, and he doesn't care whether he looks like a clown or a villain. Does that mean he won't go to Cadillac? I would like Cadillac to sign an experienced driver and a rookie alongside him. So that's not, I mean, if that's Perez and Bottas being signed up or Ricciardo thrown in alongside them, it's a no from me, because I think one of those three drivers needs to just go away for good. Yeah, he's also a very good qualifier. I mean, if we're talking about getting Bottas in at Alpine, yes. Because that means Pierre Gasly would have a useful number 2 driver alongside him and actually score some points. Help the team score some precious points in the constructor standing, so that the team can be sold on to someone who's willing to invest money, because obviously Renault, as we all know, are fed up of Formula One. It's not permanent. The Alpine role is not permanent, and it does not have a multi-year contract. Yeah, but I think ultimately, surely Valtteri Bottas must be desperate to return to racing, since he is going to be 36 years old. I'm not sure about that. Sorry, Colapinto's not that good. That's what I'm thinking, Elizabeth Marie. Absolutely correct. It would take pressure off Pierre. Absolutely, it would. I think Pierre needs to have some of the pressure taken off him. Get a good number 2 driver alongside him to help the team and him out of the point scoring. I'm sorry, mate. You've got to be ruthless to succeed in Formula 1, Andrew. You've got to be ruthless. I mean, Colapinto's had, I think, about 10 starts in the sport, and he's all over the place. And it just, Alpine are in a desperate situation. They need results now. They need it now. It's not time for them to be giving drivers chances. Well, looks like someone agrees with Andrew, though. Mick Schumacher's not for 3 years, though, so I mean, I think Mick would probably accept the offer, because I don't think any other team wants him. And let's face it, if he says no to Cadillac, then he's just basically saying no to ever racing in F1 again. Look at that, Mick and his old dad's Ferrari there. Unfortunately, Michael cannot drive that car anymore. Time to go, guys. Will I be live tomorrow? Maybe. But thank you for watching Dashing. I think this is the first time I've ever seen you on my channel, so welcome to Crystal Racing. I hope you get a good night's sleep. Yeah. And you know what? I think I'm going to end the stream now because I don't really have much else to say for this impromptu stream. I just felt like doing this. I think yesterday's British Grand Prix was very eventful, and I think it really did liven up the season. Hulkenberg's first ever podium. Who would have seen that coming? But of course, we are in a season where, in the football, we've seen Newcastle, Tottenham, Crystal Palace, Stuttgart, who else? Bologna, Go Ahead Eagles, and all sorts of other clubs break their trophy duck. So, thank you very much. Yeah. You have a good night, Dashing. Look at that beautiful Jordan 191, by the way, folks. Beautiful car. You were Mick Schumacher's girlfriend. You're reading his girlfriend's comment. Yeah, there were people absolutely apoplectic with anger that Hulkenberg got to see over Mick. I don't know what to say, mate. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Good night.